My fiancé texted, "I expect a $50,000 wedding ring." I replied, "You'll get what you deserve." Then I gave her a plastic one. Her reaction went viral, and now she's begging me to fix it. I'm 32 male, and I just ended my engagement in the most public way I could engineer. It was either that, or let my life slowly curdle into a bottom-line expense report. It started so subtly that I dismissed it as a quirk. When I met Megan, 29, she was vibrant and driven. We dated for 3 years, and for most of that time I was convinced I'd found my partner. I'm a project manager for a construction firm. I do well, but I'm a practical man. I value solid foundations, both in buildings and in life. Megan's foundation seemed to be shifting. Her social media, once a fun scrapbook of our lives, slowly morphed into a showroom for luxury brands and lifestyles. When I'd raise an eyebrow, she'd say, "You have to project success to be successful, Jeremy." Her mother, Cheryl, was less subtle, often making pointed jokes about my sensible car or my preference for saving over splurging. Megan would just laugh nervously and change the subject. I'd already been planning the proposal for our anniversary. I'd even booked a private room at a beautiful restaurant months in advance, a place she adored. I was shopping for rings, with a budget of around $10,000 that I'd worked hard to save. I had my eye on a timeless sapphire ring that I thought she, the woman I fell in love with, would treasure. Then about 3 weeks ago, my phone lit up with the text that changed everything. "BW, Mom and I were looking at rings her friend's daughters got. Just so we're on the same page, I expect a $50,000 wedding ring. Minimum. Think of it as an investment in our future, a symbol of your commitment. We don't want her friends thinking you're not serious, right?" I read it once, then a second time. My heart didn't break, it seized. The words investment and her friends echoed in my head. This wasn't about us, it was a transaction. It was a status symbol for an audience I didn't care about. Every red flag I had politely ignored began waving frantically. I spent an hour typing and deleting furious, hurt responses. Then, a cold, clarifying calm settled over me. This wasn't something to argue about, it was something to expose. I replied with just 6 words. "Me, you'll get what you deserve." Her response was a flurry of champagne and heart emojis. She thought I was on board. In that moment, the plan was born. It wasn't just about revenge, it was a diagnostic test. I needed to know for certain if any part of the woman I loved was still in there. The night of the party arrived. I'd repurposed the reservation, telling everyone it was a celebration of our relationship where I'd be giving a special toast. Our friends were there, as were her parents and a few of her cousins. My best friend, Keith, knew the full story. He was my cameraman and my moral support. The day before, I stopped at a corner store and bought a 25-cent plastic ring from a gumball machine. The night of, driving to the restaurant, my stomach was in knots. Is this too much? Am I being cruel? A voice in my head whispered that I should just call her, break it off cleanly. But then I remembered her text. The cold, calculated nature of it. This wasn't a lapse in judgment, it was a mission statement. My resolve hardened. This wasn't cruelty, it was a mirror. At the restaurant, Megan was radiant, holding court. Cheryl was already telling people what a power couple we were. After dinner, I stood glass in hand. I spoke about the importance of love, honesty, and valuing a partner for who they are, not what they provide. I could see Megan's smile tighten slightly. She knew something was off. Then I got down on one knee. The room erupted in excited gasps. Phones, already out, were now all pointed at us. "Megan," I began, my voice steady despite my hammering heart. "You wanted a ring that symbolized my commitment, one that shows everyone what our future together is truly worth." I opened the velvet box. The giant, fake plastic gemstone winked under the restaurant lights. The silence was deafening. Megan stared, her brain trying to process what she was seeing. Her face cycled through confusion, to embarrassment, to a look of such profound betrayal that for a split second, I felt a pang of guilt. Then the mask dropped. "What is this?" she hissed, her voice a low tremor. "It's what you deserve," I said quietly. Her composure shattered into a million pieces. "Are you kidding me?" she shrieked, her voice cracking. The room went dead silent. "A piece of plastic? A joke? This is what you think I'm worth?" She wasn't just angry, she was utterly humiliated. "I gave you 3 years of my life," She swiped at the box, sending the plastic rings skittering across the floor. She shoved the table, not with force, but with frantic, theatrical anger, rattling glasses. It was less a show of strength and more a complete loss of control. Cheryl rushed to her side, screaming at me about how I could dare to humiliate her daughter. Through it all, Keith held his phone steady. I stood up, my brief guilt replaced by the grim certainty that I had done the right thing. "Thank you for being honest," I said to the room as much as to her. I turned, walked out of that restaurant, and into my new life. An hour later, Keith sent me the video. It was ugly, raw, and undeniable. I posted it on YouTube with a simple title: "Fiancée demands $50K ring, gets a 25-cent one instead." Now I wait. Update 1, it's been 4 days since the proposal. The video didn't just go viral. It became a cultural event for about 15 minutes. It's sitting at over 3 million views. My phone has been on Do Not Disturb since Saturday morning. The fallout has been messy and exactly as I predicted. Meghan and her family immediately went into damage control. They launched a smear campaign, painting me as a manipulative, gaslighting monster. Her cousin posted a long, tearful screed on Facebook about how I was financially controlling, and that the video was a calculated attack to punish Meghan for having ambition. For the first couple of days it was working. I saw comment sections split 50-50. Team Meghan was a real thing. People were calling me a cruel narcissist. It was stressful. I'm a private guy, and having strangers debate my character based on a 90-second clip and a Facebook post was unnerving. I barely slept for 2 nights. The first direct hit was a voicemail from Cheryl. It was 3 minutes of pure distilled venom, promising she would ruin me and that their lawyer would be in touch. Standard stuff. The real-world consequences for Meghan started yesterday. She wasn't fired, not yet. Her company, a high-end social media marketing firm, placed her on paid suspension. The official reason was to conduct an internal review following an incident that could impact client relations. The unofficial reason is that their director of brand image became the face of #quarter-carat-Meghan. The tide of public opinion started turning when a few internet sleuths, bless their cynical hearts, did some digging. They unearthed Meghan's old, long-forgotten blog where she detailed how to date up and get expensive gifts. They found her public Pinterest boards, which were less wedding ideas and more billionaire lifestyle mood boards. Her own digital footprint completely dismantled the innocent victim narrative. I've stayed silent. I haven't posted any of the evidence I have. The texts, the budget spreadsheet where her needs topped $150. I'm keeping that in my back pocket. Letting her and her family hang themselves with their own rope has been far more effective. The hardest part has been dealing with the quiet moments. When the phone isn't buzzing and the internet outrage fades, I'm left with the ghost of a 3-year relationship. There's a profound sadness in confirming your worst fears about someone you loved. This wasn't a victory lap. It was an amputation. Necessary, but painful. Update 2. It's been a full week. The initial chaos has subsided and been replaced by the methodical grind of consequences. Cheryl made her move. On Monday, I got a call from my boss, Roger. He asked me to come to his office. He had a stiff, professional look on his face that made my stomach drop. "Jeremy," he said, closing the door. "I got a very passionate call from a woman named Cheryl, who I believe is your ex-fiancée's mother. She made a series of accusations about your stability and character." This was the moment I dreaded. I laid out the short version of the story, focusing on the financial demands and the pressure. I told him a video was online, but didn't push him to watch it. Roger, who's a no-nonsense engineer, just nodded. "Look," he said, "your personal life is your own business. But the moment she contacts this company and makes accusations, it becomes my business. I don't care about the drama, but I expect you to handle it and ensure it doesn't affect your work or our company's reputation. If she or her lawyer contacts us again, we'll have our legal team handle it. But I expect this to be the end of it. Are we clear?" It wasn't the warm, validating speech from a movie, but it was fair. It was real. "Crystal clear," I said, relieved. He was protecting the company and by extension my position within it. 2 days ago the inevitable happened. A frantic banging on my apartment door late at night. It was Meghan. I looked through the peephole. She looked wrecked. I opened the door, keeping the chain latched. "Jeremy, please," she sobbed, the words tumbling out. "You have to help me. They're going to fire me. Everyone is laughing at me. You have to take the video down. Tell them it was a prank we did together." It was the apology of a cornered animal. No remorse, only desperation. "There's nothing to help with, Megan," I said, my voice flat. "This is the situation you created." "I created? You're the one who humiliated me in front of everyone," she shot back, the tears instantly replaced by a flash of her old fire. "You got a 25-cent ring and you screamed about being broke shamed," I replied. I just held up a mirror. "I'm sorry you didn't like the reflection. I have a folder on my computer, Megan. Every text, every demand, Cheryl's voicemail. I suggest you and your mother stop contacting me and my work before I'm forced to share it with a lawyer." Her face went pale. The fight drained out of her, leaving a hollowed-out shell. She saw there was no angle left to play. She just stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked away. I closed the door and leaned against it, my heart pounding from the confrontation. There was no satisfaction, just the grim finality of it all. It was truly over. Final update. Hello everyone. I know it's been a while, but I wanted to post one final update to close this chapter. The dust has fully settled. Life has found a new, quieter rhythm. Megan was officially let go from her job about a month after my last update. The internal review concluded she was no longer a viable representative for their brand-conscious clients. Her attempts to get another job in marketing have apparently failed. Her digital footprint is just too radioactive. From what a mutual acquaintance told me, she moved back in with her parents and has largely disappeared from the social scene. Cheryl and her family have gone completely silent. My lawyer received one boilerplate cease and desist letter, to which he sent a very dry response, hinting at a countersuit for harassment with my evidence folder as exhibits. We never heard from them again. As for me, the first couple of months were about rebuilding. I sold the apartment I had shared with Megan. It felt haunted by a future that was never going to happen. I used the money I'd saved for the wedding to buy a smaller condo for myself and put a down payment on a small plot of land with a fixer-upper cabin a few hours from the city. Working on that cabin, stripping it down to the studs and building it back up, has been more therapeutic than any conversation could ever be. It's a physical manifestation of what I've been doing with my life. I took a break from dating. I needed to recalibrate my own judgment and understand how I had let things get that far. I learned to distinguish genuine affection from transactional affection. About 2 months ago, I met someone. Her name is Alice. It was a cliché meeting at a hardware store. We were both looking for the same type of wood stain for our respective projects. She's an architect, and we ended up talking for an hour about support beams and load-bearing walls. It was the most refreshing conversation I'd had in years. I eventually told her the story. She listened patiently, and when I was done, she simply said, "That must have been incredibly painful. I'm glad you found a way to stand up for yourself." She didn't judge the method, she understood the motive. There's no triumphant ending here. My life isn't a movie. A long-term relationship ended in a deeply public and ugly way. But it's a realistic ending. I have peace, I have my work, my cabin, and a new, promising connection with someone who is interested in building something real with me, not just decorating it. I still have the plastic ring. It's in a drawer with old screws and bolts. A 25-cent piece of plastic that saved me from a lifetime of debt, both financial and emotional. It's a reminder that a solid foundation is worth more than any glittering facade. Thank you all for the support through the messiest time of my life. It made a difference. Take care.